All right, hi. Testing. Okay, testing. Your electric motor division, LaGrange, Illinois, the GM DDA40X Operator's Manual from General Motors, May 1969. Skipping ahead to the introduction, we're going to increase the size. Alright, the notice. The data appearing in the manual is intended with the guidance aid with explaining locomotive equipment during operation. Information contained in this manual based on data available to reach for printing. Minor differences in current or in the equipment due to changes made after the manual was sent into the press. These changes will be covered in subsequent editions of this manual. Introduction. Manual has prepared to serve guides of railroad personnel engaged in operation at 6,600 horsepower General Motors Manual DDA40X Super Turbocharged Diesel Electric Locomotive. The contents are divided into four sections and allows as follows. General description provides general description, principal equipment and components, cab controls, explains function, cab control equipment used in operation of the locomotive. Operation outlines procedure for the operating of the locomotive and for the trouble action response. In trouble. Alright, a block of page numbers allocated for each section. Section 1 starting at page 101, Section 2, 201, and other following in the manner. This figure identified with the section in sequence. Figure of the example, figure 2-3 would be the third figure used in Section 2. To obtain the most benefit from this manual, it is recommended that the sections be read in sequence in which they appear. Information pertaining to the maintenance and adjustment testing contained in locomotive service instruction for testing and maintenance of individual locomotive components remaining in part. A standard electric motor division instruction bulletin series will be included into the electrical component bench manual. Introduction. The manual has prepared several. Sorry, that's the same pic. That's the same one. Over here, you see the DDA40X locomotive, and there's the DDA40X locomotive with a truck. DDA40X truck, the four bogie truck. Alright, general data. Model designation DDA46, locomotive DD0880. It's the Lewis model, 6,600 horsepower, approximately 540,000 pound weight on rails. 540,000 pounds, 8,257 gallons of fuel capacity, 300 gallons per engine of water. Lubricating oil, increased capacity 395, dipstick to 195, 53 cubic feet, sand. Curve negotiation, 290 foot radius or a 19 foot 4 degree curve, 359 feet radius, 16 degree curve. Alright, general dimensions, 98 feet and a half from front coupler to rear coupler, approximately 10 foot and 4 inches. And width over the sandboxes, height over the mounted fan hatch, 17.4 inches. Diesel engines per locomotive, 645E3A, number of cylinders 16, compression ratio 14 to 14.5 to 1, cylinder arrangement 45 degree V, cylinder bore stroke 9 and 1/16 by 10. Operating principle, 2 strokes turbocharged assisted cylinder wall ports, multiple valve exhaust using unit fuel injection water cylinder, headliners, oil fuel, cold floating pans, increment speed governor, separate overspeed, high cranking pressure protection, 10 bearing crankshaft, drop forge connecting rods, 950 RPMs, full speed, 320 RPMs idle speed. And this shows your main generator is the AR12, 1450 volt VC, 2200, 2800 rectifier diode. Maximum continuous current 4800, companion alternator D14, 215, number of poles 16, frequency at 950 RPMs, 126.5. Auxiliary generators per locomotive, 2 per locomotive, 1000 kilowatts, voltage 74. Voltage trucks, air brakes, traction motors. And then section 1 is your general description. Introduction, locomotive operates. Section 2, engine starting cab control. Introduction, engine starting control, switch fuse panel, circuit breaker panels, engine control panel, locomotive control, mechanical interlocks on the control, air brake equipment, brake equipment positions, separate, Alright, preparation for service, starting the diesels, trailing unit cab inspection, trailing unit number 2, end inspection, starting unit diesel engine, placing units on the line, precautions before locomotives, handling light locomotives, draining air reserve and strainers, engine air box, drain, cooling system, cab heater, drains, coupling locomotive units together, coupling locomotive to train, pump up the air brake pipe, leakage test, starting a train, accelerating a train, drag duty, power control, operating over rail crossing, running through water wheel, slip correction wheel, slip right, locomotive speed limited wheel, maximum gear ratio, operation, dynamic braking, wheel slide control, double heading operation, helper, service, isolating unit, changing operating ends, stopping the engine, securing locomotive for a layover, towing locomotive in the train, freezing weather precautions, section 4, operator response and trouble, introduction. Alright, you're in section 1, general description, introduction. General Motors model DDA40X locomotive is illustrated in figures 0, 1, and 1, designed with a heavy-duty main line servo that's equipped with 2 separate independent power units. Each power unit consists of 3,300 horsepower. It has 6-cylinder turbocharged diesel engines directly connected to the main generator, which delivers 4 traction motors, each of which is geared to an axle pair of driving wheels. 4 traction motors are located in a single truck. Power from number 1 engines directly to the number 1 truck. Power from number 2 engines to the number 2 truck. Basic locomotive is arranged and equipped with a short hood. Head cab end is considered front and forward part of the unit. However, the locomotive operates equally well in either direction. The locomotive may consist of 1 or more individual units, each of the complete functional power plant, coupled together with a multi-unit operation, all simultaneously controlled for a single set of controls located in the cab lead unit. The accomplished through the jumper cable to continue to be connected between the units. General arrangement of the equipment used on the locomotive shown in figure 1.1, with more information, more important, the equipment of the components of the number and illustrated in the illustration. Alright, how the locomotive operates. The DDA40X locomotive consists of 2 independent power plants. The number 1 power plant delivers the power for the 4 motors number 1 truck, and the number 2 power plant delivers the power for the 4 motors in the number 2 truck. Each power plant receives the signal of the locomotive operation starting at the joint. Just a trailing unit is consistent to do the following descriptive paragraphs. Each approach a single power plant independently and so worded. Fuel pump is driven with an electrical motor, which for the 4 fuel priming using current with a storage battery. Once the engine started running, the fuel pump motor usually currently directly from the auxiliary generator. The fuel tank under the locomotive with a suction strainer and the primary filter, engine mounted filter to the engine injectors racks. For the injectors are pushed in position by the engine governor to control the amount of fuel injected in the engine cylinders. 2. The diesel engine started by means of the 2 parallel connected 64 volts cranking motors that engage the engine flywheel ring gear with the starting current and supply with the storage battery supplies electric current to engage in the starting pinions, rotate the cranking motors. With the engine running, it is supplied with the mechanical power through the shaft, the coupling of the directly drive 3 electrical generators, air compressor motor, generator blowers, engine-mounted low oil cooling water pumps. 4. The main traction alternator supply high voltage AC to the power rectifier assembly, which deliver high voltage DC to the traction motor locomotive pulling the power. The companion alternating current generates furnished with the power of the static exciter with the various transducers, various control circuit modules, 3 radiator cooling fans, internal separate blower motor. Auxiliary generator charged with the storage battery supply with low voltage direct control, lighting, and heating and circuits. By the means of cab control, low voltage circuit is established from the acute engine governor with a switch gear with electrical cabinet, switch gear control, generator excitation, distribution, power. 4 traction motors are located on each truck. Each traction motor is directly geared to an axle and pair of driving wheels. The throttle is equally controlled, suspended power by the actuating governor mounted with the engine trying to respond to the locomotive power control system to the throttle, and the main generator converts the engine mechanical power to electrical power, which is then distributed to the traction motors through the circuit established by the various switchgears components of the electrical cabinet. If the locomotive starts with throttle control, the electrical devices that provide rapid power response at a level consistent with smooth controlled starting. Alright, number 1 would be your sandbox. Number 2, battery box. Number 3, control stand. Number 4, electrical cabinet. Number 5, cabin and air inlet filter. 6, internal air filter and blower. 7, traction motor blowers. 8, main generator blower. 9, auxiliary generator. 10, turbocharger. 11, main generator. 12, starting motor. 16 by 645 E3A diesel engine. 14, dynamic braking grids, and blower. 15, radiators. 16, radiator fans. 17, equipment rack. 18, air compressor. 20, fuel tank. 21, truck. 22, engine air filter. General arrangement of the DDA40X locomotive. Alright, during heavy drag operation, control circuits allow the operation full power traction motor to become hot. After the motors have become hot, power is controlled with the optimum level to allow the locomotive to operate at minimum continuous speed consistent with the less powerful locomotives that may be inconsistent. The control also allows high current, short time power, and an optional minimum level. At moderate high operating speed, the low regulator operates maintaining power output with a special level called the throttle position that prevents the engine from being overloaded or underloaded. The air compressor is supplied with the reservoir air under the pressure primarily with the air brakes. The air brakes are controlled by the operator through the suitable equipment in the cab. Except for the manual operation with the cab control, locomotive operation is completely automatic. Various alarms and safety devices alert the operator should any operation difficulty occur. Alright, section 2, engine starting control cabs. We'll cut the tape there.